Hello, beautiful souls. Today I'm here to answer some questions about soul gender that came up after the video I posted yesterday. I'm Debbra Lupien, the Answer Diva of Akasha Unleashed. I'm a spiritual teacher and an Akashic Records expert. Thank you for joining me today. So, the soul gender got quite a little bit of reaction. And some of you, like me, didn't know there was such a thing as soul gender. So I am delighted at all of the questions that were asked, and let's get started. So Sherry, Artuvia, and Amber submitted questions. We'll jump right in. The first question, why would a soul have a gender? Well, it's kind of a deep question, actually. So let's go back to the very beginning when Creator made each of our souls. If you have ever seen the Star Trek series Deep Space Nine, there was a character on there named Odo. Odo is a shapeshifter. And when they portrayed how his species lived and functioned, they showed them as this body of liquid, like an ocean almost. And then when one would emerge, they would just come up and form into this human being and come out into the world. So the way I see it is that we all, being energy, existed before we were in our bodies in a format something like that. So there, let's say there's this ocean of soul energy. So when Creator gets ready to make a new soul, she goes and somewhat like dips a ladle of energy out. A little bit like making a recipe. So the first part is that dollop of energy. And then encoded into that energy is our soul matrix. We get things like the soul gender. We get our divine gift or gifts if you have more than one. And we get our soul tribe, and we get all kinds of other attributes. So the whole purpose behind this is to make us unique. Soul gender is just one more attribute to make us unique. So it gave more combinations, if you will. So we are all of these recipes with all these little bits and pieces put in to make the whole that creates us as this amazing soul. And so that's my take on why a soul gender. It was a way to distinguish one from another, just a different attribute. And ultimately, it's up to Creator how to put us all together, right? That was, for their purpose. I hope that makes sense. Now, caveat to all of this. This is my perspective. It's what I understand from working with my guides and from the studies that I have done. If you have a different perspective, that's perfectly fine. I'm open to that. You can tell me about it, because there are different dimensions and realities, and there might be other answers to this question. So just understand, as I answer the rest of these questions, they're coming from my perspective. Okay? Next question. Does gender matter between incarnations, and how does it affect our current lives? Well, between incarnations, we are existing on another plane, and we are in pure energy. Does it matter in our current lives? Yes, absolutely it does. Because as I explained in the first video, sometimes our soul gender is different than our physical body. And that's because we chose that. We chose what gender we would be in our current incarnation for whatever reasons we had at the time. So that's perfect. Nothing wrong with it. But every once in a while, things will go a little bit awry. It's like that third dimensional skin suit, our body, is a bad fit. And maybe we're not finding this incarnation and this gender to work for us the way we planned, for any number of reasons. And when that happens, sometimes there's gender confusion and a discomfort, because who wants to wear a suit that doesn't fit right? So I hope that makes sense. That's a simplified answer to that question. The next one, do souls retire or no longer incarnate on Earth? Yeah, as a matter of fact, they do. I've actually run into a couple of them in my journeys in the fifth dimension. And what they explained to me is that they had reached a point in their evolution as a soul that they wanted to hit the pause button on being a human, on having that third dimensional experience, because there was something greater that they wanted to do. Now, in some cases, that might mean stepping in and being a guide to somebody in their records, helping them out. Maybe for whatever reason, they're connected to that person and they want to do that. They can choose to do that. They can also choose to stay on another dimension and carry out whatever it is that they want to do. In my upcoming book, I tell a story of how I met Einstein. And he explained to me that he was carrying on this big experiment because a lot of souls had been damaged. And he was running this, gosh, it's hard to explain this until you read the story, but he was helping to mark the souls that needed to be repaired, if you will, when they came back. And this fulfilled his soul at that moment in time. Later on, he might choose to incarnate again or not, totally up to him, as it is to all of us. Free choice is paramount in our experience as a soul. We always get to choose. Stay here, have another incarnation, have the more delicious third dimensional experience that so many souls seem to crave, or stay in another dimension and do something else. But it's always up to us. It's what will further our development as a soul. We get to choose. Next question. Are new souls created because there are souls who stop reincarnating? Well, new souls are coming out whenever Creator decides to put more out. That's the bottom line. And it really has nothing to do with whether others stop reincarnating or not. It's when it pleases Creator, they will put more souls out. So yeah, they're periodically putting more souls out. Because the thing is, as I explained in the beginning, how I see all the souls who are not incarnated currently, they're in like this big collective body of energy, something like an ocean. So they're there in that space, and they're still gathering information because we're all connected to divine and we're all in this big collective energy, sharing experiences and understanding and growth. So even while they are in a non-physical form, they're just energy, they're still learning and growing, and the information is being fed to them because it serves everyone. And then should they decide to incarnate again into a third dimensional body, they will take with them that new understanding. And now the important thing about this is that as the earth and our souls have evolved to a higher expansion, a higher frequency, there is more memory of who we were before we incarnated. For so long, there was such a disparity in that energy that we would come into the third dimension mostly forgetting everything that we knew when we were a soul without a body. Now souls are being born with more of those memories intact. And there are others like myself who are recovering memories as we're studying and learning and growing. So it's really quite marvelous. As souls, we are just continually expanding, learning more, and just having a heck of a good time. Next question. Is there a beginning and end to the Akashic Records? Well, there is a beginning because we each have our own individual Akashic Record archive. So the beginning would be the very first time that we incarnated. That's when the records begin for us. And I have learned that at the end of each year on our birthday, when that natal year closes out, the Akashic Guides throw a big party and they celebrate because they're closing up the records for that year, moving them into the archive deeper, and focusing on a whole new set of records they're beginning for the next year of your life. So they will continue doing that every single year, and the records, the archive will just keep growing and growing and growing. So is there an end? I don't think so, because at this point, we are all still expanding, experiencing more, and going on. And as energy, we're eternal, right? So why would there be an end? As far as I understand it, it just keeps going. And there was a question about what was the first page of the records. Well, that's a little bit of a misnomer, at least in my experience. I don't see the Akashic Records as a book that I'm turning pages and reading. Instead, the very beginning, I saw it actually as something akin to the New York Public Library. It was vast, and there were all these files, and then it evolved, and there was a help desk with a computer that got digitized. And further down the road, it's more of just an energetic space that I go to, and I'll interact with whichever guides come forward. They will show me lots of metaphors and symbolism, and they'll tell stories as well as share lessons verbally. So it runs the gamut, but in my experience, it's not just a book that we turn pages. And you know, I think that's part of the reason that some people who try to read their Akashic Records struggle and don't get there, because they're trying to see a book and read pages. And that's a limiting belief, right? So let go of that. When you go to your Akashic Records using some of the meditations I've shared with you, just allow whatever experience happens to come through. That will be your way of interacting with the Akashic Records, because we're all designed differently, uniquely. So the way that we would connect would probably be different, right? So just allow whatever to come through. Final question. Where do we get more answers? Well, you can come here. You can ask questions on YouTube. You can go on my Facebook page. It's Akasha Unleashed, and you can ask questions there. You can connect with me on Twitter. You can send me an email, answers@akashaunleashed.com. I do answer my emails. So those are a few ways that you can connect with me. I also do readings. So if you want more personal information, if you're one of those people who is ready, you're on a spiritual journey, and you want to take a deep dive, then definitely go to my website, akashaunleashed.com, and check out the readings page to see what I offer. And if you don't see what you're looking for, then hey, let me know. I can do something custom for you. But for those people who are really ready to do some serious soul exploration and expansion, that is a fabulous way to go. So those are just a few ways that you can do it. However you choose is perfectly fine. I hope that all makes sense. If not, please ask more questions, because then I can make you more videos. So if you've enjoyed this information and would like more, please like, comment, subscribe so I can let you know about new videos when they come out. There will be more lessons from the Akasha coming. Thank you all. This is Debbra Lupien, the Answer Diva of Akasha Unleashed. Till next time. Bye.